Hi guys, I've been experimenting with getting my cutting rig set up in a way that I can use the bone analog and rolled newspaper consistently so that every time I cut it'll be exactly the same as previously cut so that we'll be able to actually see what the different swords are doing rather than each time I cut the target is completely different from one another. Lancelot Chen, feel free to laugh at my attempts to get it going very consistently, but I'm trying to get it in a way that it's going to be easy to break down and put back up instead of staying out there. I don't have a lot of space to store all the bulky equipment. Anyway, so I recorded several different versions of it across several days, and it's not a great example of what the swords can do. And originally, I wasn't really even going to show it, but someone might find it interesting, so I'm just going to put all of the footage up there as a series of cutting sessions. I'm talking about it, but don't take to heart that much about what I'm saying about the swords because it's not very fair to them how they perform since the rig is not a very consistent rig. Anyway, enjoy. With a slightly different setup, I wrapped the target very differently. I have a longer pole here, which apparently isn't going all the way down into the base because of how I have it mounted. So I have a head height target this time, which will test my aim, and I'll be trying two different type of sabers. We're going to start with the Kilij, and instead of a hacking cut, we will try a drawing cut. How dangerous is a drawing cut against a target like this? Let's find out. Alright, that first one went quite deep and went all the way. I wish I could see exactly where it landed against the bone. It definitely went through the bone, but not quite all the way through. Try again. Come with an upward cut. Oh yeah. I don't think that one went quite as deep. I think that one just barely struck the bone. You can kind of tell based on where each side of the incision is. And I'm striking in this portion of the yeoman, this portion of the end. And just for contrast, I'll just try a hacking strike just to see if it makes a difference. Oh, went all the way down. And now I can see, now it's exposed the target. I can see that that one grazed the bone a little bit. And my previous strike, it's all turned around, so it's a little harder to tell. But most of them went kind of midway through the bone. So these are like 40% of the way through the limb type strike. Let's see if I can get it to go back into position. All right, I'm gonna put the Kilij down for a second, and I want to try a heavier sword. So here's the LK Chen US
1860 light cavalry saber. So a cavalry saber is usually used from horseback, and when you're on the horse, you're using the weight of the horse to propel you, and you can use sweeping cuts, but if you read the use of the saber from the systems that were in place around the turn of the 19th century, they still recommend that the saber is used in an extended hand and powered just by wrist moulinets. So, if you're dismounted or if you're on the horse and you're approaching someone, and just bring your sword up and then bring it down, I'm going to try a wrist-powered cut and see, just using the weight of this much heavier saber, what type of damage we can inflict. I have to aim up a little higher. Right. Well, that was certainly a big wound. Didn't quite go all the way through. Try from the other side. Target is wobbling quite a bit. These are grievous wounds, even just with wrist-powered cuts. Didn't quite land my target. Oh. And then just for comparison, we'll try one from the elbow, kind of. I think that's one hit here. My poor target is falling apart. Oh no, don't fall all the way down. I guess we could have it lower. There's no problem with having it lower. Here, we'll try a shoulder power cut. And that's basically cut all the way through with just a little bit remaining. And my poor target is deteriorated by this point. Okay. And one more from the other side. Just there we go. And we'll bring the Kilij back to show that it can do the same. So, with a powerful strike, these swords have no problem clearing the entire target. They're both very powerful blades, but even with very little, comparably little cuts, these little kind of wrist-powered cuts, you're able to go through the targets. They're debilitating injuries that are going to cut halfway through a limb and dig deep into the bone. So it's something to keep in mind. You know, a lot of test cutting, when it's being done, everyone is rearing back and taking huge swings and trying to get all the way through the target. The purpose of test cutting is always to either test the geometry of the sword, see how the sword performs on a medium, or to test the technique. And in this case, if you're interested in how you're going to be able to perform in combat, to be able to block a ward and then perform a strike, you want to be able to know that that strike is going to be able to cause serious injury or wounding. And in this case, the swords are spectacular. They perform very, very well at their job, and will be able to do that. And yes, if if you absolutely need to get through a target, you can wind up and you can go all the way through them at that point. So two awesome offerings, one from the Ottoman Empire and one from the Americas. Different sizes, but made for similar roles, both for horsemanship and for dismounted use. Sabres are powerful swords, and do not be on the receiving end of them. Till next time, guys. Okay, I'm deciding to try this again with both of the Sabres. Last time I had a little trouble with my rig, and I rolled it very slightly differently this time. Let's see how they perform for this guy. And again, a very deep cut, approximately 60% of the way through with this drawing type action. Oh, that fit in very nicely. So you can see exactly how far it made it through. And this is the first time I've ever had one of my swords lodge itself in one of these bone simulant targets. So you can see I struck exactly where I intended to along the blade, right around the COP. And I'll pull it out. And we'll see if I can tell how deep it went. The wound has sealed itself up a little bit, so I can't tell, but just based on where the entry is, it looks like it probably just bit into the bone a little bit and came out. I'm going to try again from the other side and see how we do. And again, this is just a rift-powered cut, a rift-powered millimeter. Didn't have good clearance here, unfortunately. I'm going to come out from the other side. You guys won't be able to see me, but you'll be able to see the damage done. That was my fault. I did a terrible cut. My fault entirely. Try again. And once again, I missed my cut. So just striking like that into the bone itself, it cut about halfway through the bone simulant without any flesh. Everyone has an off day. Try again. This time I cut low enough that I struck against the PVC and haven't caused any damage to the blade, but I shattered a little piece of my PVC because I struck too low on the target. If we get any worse today, we're going to have to wrap it up because I'm damaging my sword. And unfortunately, it just went right into where the target is already chopped. So, not a lot more going on this time. Take the Type 14 out first, then, shall we? For the medium power strike, it fit in decently far, but it launched the target. We'll try it a little harder. Well, that time it did cut all the way through, even though my rig failed. Made a nice clean cut through the bone. And again, not a scratch on the type portion. Okay, so this is going to be the third in my three-part saga of trying to get the cutting rig working. I have secured the base of it a little bit better because the last couple of times I've been hitting it, it's been letting the cutting analog go free and I haven't been getting good cuts out of it. Has it been how I've been preparing this, or has it been because my stand hasn't been durable enough? We'll see this time. Third time's the charm. So that time, we cut nicely through. Second cut hit the bone and did not go all the way through. But again, it was broken below. Let's switch it out. Let's use a two-handed sword. See if there's any difference. This is freestanding, so I'm going to swing really fast initially. See what we get. Yeah, that looks like it cut cleanly there. Try a little bit lower. Try the other side. Turned it around, but didn't knock it all the way down, and seems to have, I believe, cleanly cut it. I'm going to switch over to high speed. Didn't get it on the high-speed shot, and turned to a more relaxed approach. I just cut paper, I didn't cut bone. That time I cut the bone. Cut easily. Again, cut easily down the other side. Not too bad. I'll try a horizontal cut, but it's going to have to be very, very hard. I did hit my target, and I did cut through the bone, but it only made it about 80% of the way through before the whole thing dislodged and cut it across. So, where does that leave us? I'd say I'm pretty happy with the rig. I'm not entirely convinced that this is stable enough for the type of targets I'm cutting, because these are very dense, and the bone again does offer a lot of resistance. So whether I'm hitting it with a two-handed sword with a lot of leverage, or just a big sweeping attack with a one-handed sword that has a lot of mass behind it, either way, it's importing a lot of energy into the target. So I'm going to have to keep on working on it, and I'll come back once I have a better setup that we can use consistently.